a lot of practice questions in the Barron CCRN prep book. Welcome back to the New Nurse Guidebook channel. My name's Pierre Lafore, and if you're new to this channel, the purpose of this channel is to help new graduate nurses live healthier, wealthier, more happy and fulfilling lives. A lot of my friends who I worked with in the ICU asked what the best way to prepare for the CCRN was. And for me personally, it was definitely exposure to practice questions. So first thing that I did was I purchased a subscription to the American Association of Critical Care Registered Nurses question bank, because they're the ones who write the exam. If they're the ones who write the exam, their question bank's probably great for studying, and it was. The other thing I did was buy a Barron's book where it details and breaks down chapter by chapter different systems that are covered in the CCRN exam. So now that you have those two resources, great. How do you execute on it? I picked a date about 2 months in advance, and then I had a target, and then I had this timeline. Okay, now I need to prepare for this. So while I was preparing, I'd work my 3 12-hour nursing shifts a week, and then I'd have 4 days off. During those 4 days off, maybe one's a recovery day if you're coming from nights, but for 4 to 3 days out of the week, I'd set aside 4 hours like it was its own separate job, and I would study for it. So my method for studying during those 4 hours would be I would sit down and pick one chapter, one system, cardiovascular, and then I would read through the whole outline and get exposed to all the material in the cardiovascular section of the Barron's book. Then I would go through the practice questions through the AACN's question bank and hit every single cardiovascular question until I could, recite it verbatim. And then after that, I went to the questions at the end of the chapter in the cardiovascular section, and I did that as like my big test and review to prepare for it. And I did that system by system. And then once I had finished all of the systems that were covered section by section, I then would make exams that simulated the CCRN exam experience by compiling them all together. So, you might have you might have an endocrine system question, a GI question, and then a pulmonary and a cardiovascular, and then a neuro. And it was shuffled and all over the place, just like it is on the real exam, even though there's a greater percentage of cardiovascular questions on the CCRN than there are neuro questions in endocrine and GI. That was my method and my system for preparing for it, almost just getting in the daily habit of doing it. The other thing that I did is for those 4 hours, I wouldn't just study straight 4 hours. I might do 45 to 50 minutes of studying and then take a 10 to 15 minute break. It's called the Pomodoro method. It's very beneficial because if you just sit there for 4 hours, your brain and your body just gets numb, from my personal experience. If you found this helpful, please leave it a like. And if you know somebody else who would benefit from this content, don't hesitate to share it with them. Please leave a comment if there's some content that you'd like for me to make in the future. I'd be more than happy to make it. And yeah, this is Pierre Lafore signing off with the New Nurse Guidebook channel. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.